Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So one of the number one topics I get asked about all the time to make a video on is the money piece area. You know, it's more fragile, it's more prone to breakage, it's touched the most, it sees the most heat. You know, you're scared to make it bright, but you want to put lightener on it because you want that money piece and that pop, and the client requests that brightness around the face. There's so many questions and so many scary things that go around this whole entire hairline. So today I decided to break it down and show you guys my tips and tricks on what I like to do for my bright blondes and how I exactly do detailed money piece oiling. If this sparks your interest and you want to learn something here today, then keep watching. 10 pro tips for the hairline detailed money piece area. We're going to jump right in. Pro tip number 1, sectioning. It is very crucial that before even you mix your product, you have very organized sectioning. For the money pieces and hairline, I have a few different placements. Today I'll be doing what I do most of the time, and that is actually sketching out the hairline hair. Depending on the look you are trying to achieve, the size will differ, but a good rule of thumb I like to go by is about an inch evenly on both sides. However, hairline foil work is going to be a little different for every person depending on their hairline and parting. If they don't have a down the middle part, I do like doing it this way, so it's a lot of the time. As you see, my client Tina has what I like to call a good side and a bad side, meaning most of the hair is on the good side and the less hair side is what I call the bad side. First thing I noticed when I did her hair for the first time is the good side includes also her widow's peak, so it comes out an extra inch further in the front down to the forehead. Pro tip number 2 is to always use a lower developer. When mixing your product, if you are starting in the front first, use a lower developer. The hair foils in the hairline must be very small, and the smaller the amount of hair, the better and quicker the lift. I always use 7 or 10 volume, and for the rest of the head I go back to my normal 20 volume. The only time I'll use 20 in the client's hairline is if they're resistant or they're a level 5 to 6 or darker naturally. Always remember to use Olaplex or a Bond Builder or Bond Builder bleach of your choice. Today we're using Blonde Me by Schwarzkopf, and that has a Bond Builder built into it. So I also mixed my 16th ounce of Olaplex in this bowl as well, so it's double the protection. You guys have to remember the hair around the entire hairline, even by the neck, is naturally more fragile. The hair around the front gets more exposure from the sun, it sees the most heat from the hot tools, and it's touched the most, which weakens it naturally. Pro tip number 3 is to really be thorough and consult with your client on their goal. The best is to have them show you inspirational pictures. Depending on how strong they want their money piece will let you know what technique to use. Tina is a natural level 7, so she's a very light, dirty blonde and naturally gets very light around the face from the sun. So with her, I always want a very bold money piece, so I did do 4 to 5 straight slices back to back. To prevent any confusion, when I do slices, I take the entire piece and have no subsection left out. Like we were taught in the beauty school, they always say leave a subsection in between even if you do slice. I don't do that around the hairline. So when I did the 5 slices, they are literally the smallest amount of hair that I can get in the foil without it falling, and they are back to back, no hair in between at all whatsoever. 80% of the time I will start with 2 to 5 slices. Once I'm done, I then begin doing very small baby lights with barely any hair left out. When I do baby lights in the money piece area, the only subsection is just the hair left out of my stitch. 90% of the time, my entire baby light technique I do is like this. The only time I'll leave more hair in between each foil is if my client's wanting a more dimensional look, or if we are doing a rooted look and I am doing a paint between. If my client is 100% solid blonde with 0 dimension, then I will do straight slicing the entire section. This is very rare. I usually like to start transforming into baby light so it blends into the rest of the hair and doesn't look just like a big chunk of blonde. If my client is against anything too bright around their face, and there are a few of them, I will do just tightly packed baby lights, closer and smaller than the rest of the hair that I do. You know, this will still give them some kind of a money piece, but it just won't be too scary, too prominent, or too chunky, if you will. My pro tip number 4 is to make sure you're using the correct tools. Foils, brushes, and your weaving comb have to be on point and comfortable to you and your liking. When doing the hairline foils, I love using my Frame Art embossed pop-up foils. These have been my ride or die for the 3 years I've been doing hair. I like them because they give you a good base and they stay where you put them. When it comes to my color brushes, I love using the smaller ones for the hairline area. Reason being, if you're doing a root retouch like I am here today on Tina, you want to make sure you're putting that product exactly on the new regrowth only and feathering whatever is remaining on the brush down through any darker spots. If the hair is light enough, you want to kick it out of the foil so you are basically avoiding unnecessary overlapping and avoiding any more damage. So if you've been a supporter for a while now, then you know my favorite brushes ever are the Goldwell large and mini ones. This is a mini one here that I'm using here right now, and this is my favorite for detailed hairline foil work. I also love Framar brushes as well. Another important tool is your weaving comb. I have two favorites, the black carbon cricket one that doesn't have a metal tail, and the one I use 95% of the time is Jessie from Jay-Z Styles. This is her extra long blonding comb. I'll link her website down below. You guys probably already know who she is. She also does hair videos. She's the reason I even started hair. I love you, Jessie. But I'll link her website down below and you can order them. I think I ordered about maybe 10 more just a couple of weeks ago because I love having them and fresh ones all the time. So pro tip number 5, make sure your saturation is on point. This is a topic I think I'm going to do a specific video on in general because foiling is very important at all times to have great saturation, but especially the hairline. You want to make sure your saturation is enough, but not too much. There's two types of foilers out there. There's the ones who slap product on and use way too much, in my opinion. And then the kind who don't saturate enough and the hair barely has product on it. You want to use minimum product, apply and add more if needed. It's easier to add more and a pain to take off. My amount or product, as you see, is perfect. Everything's saturated and definitely covered, but not too much where when I fold my foil, it's going to come out of the top of the foil and cause bleeding. In school, they always taught us to stay about a ½ inch away from the top of the foil because of the bleach swelling and expanding. But guys, as you see, I always go right to the top of the foil. As long as your products mix correctly to the consistency of your liking, you are not applying too much, then you'll be fine. Trust me, you'll see the end, the amazing lift we get, and it's so crucial to have the perfect amount right in the middle of product application. Rolling right into pro tip number 6 is going to be using different color foils. I always like to use different foils for the hairline so I know exactly which ones to keep an eye on, and this goes hand in hand with tip number 7, which is to pull the foils when they are ready. You never want to let foils that are already done remain there until everything's done processing. Even though I use a lower developer on these, the hair is finer and the amount of hair in each foil is very minimal, so the process is going to take very quick for them. And by having these hairline foils in different colors or different kinds from the rest, you'll know which ones to keep checking on and the ones that you need to pull first. Make sure after you pull them, you wipe them down gently by blotting and then applying a conditioning mask or Olaplex number 2 on them. This will stop the lightener from processing, and then I always gently comb through or brush through to make sure it's definitely shutting the bleach down. And then I'll clip the hair up and let it chill while the other foils are finishing up. It is a lot of extra work and easier to start in the back, so you can just dunk them in the sink if the back's done first, but most blondes do want to be as blonde as possible, so most of the time I'll start with the hairline money piece area. Pro tip number 8, use a root toner to help give you the ideal look. So when the foils are done, I shampoo. Then I like sitting my clients up at the bowl, applying Olaplex number 2 or a deep conditioning treatment all over the mids and ends, section down the middle or the part that they choose to use, and then I begin the root toner. I have 3 different ways to do this. I'll link the tutorial I did on this below, and I also have a new updated one on the way that you guys don't want to miss. But whether my client wants a tap, shadow, or smudge, 100% of the time usually I section the hairline off and don't touch it until the rest of the hair is done. I then will always tap or slightly shadow the hairline last, and I let it process between 2 to 5 minutes. This is a part where you can paint the picture depending on your client's goal. If you get carried away and made them too blonde or all of a sudden they're scared of it, you can slightly shadow back down. If you want it to just all come together perfectly and look so seamless, I will slightly tap, and I mean tap. This will keep them brighter. If a client is white blonde, that is where I'll do, most of the time if they have 0 dimension and they really like it really bright and they're almost platinum, I will sometimes leave the hairline money pieces out completely and not shadow them at all. Always section off the hairline so you can attack it differently depending on the end goal. Pro tip number 9, use your best judgment. You're an artist. At the end of the day, we all do come up with our own tips and tricks and use other people's things and make them our own. And we all have our own way of of doing things as our skills evolve. You can take my advice and tips and use them and tweak them to your own liking. Always use your brain and never ever put the hair at risk unnecessarily. All right, without further ado, pro tip number 10 for the money piece hairline area is to make sure you are very careful when you are styling and finishing up the session. Combing out the hair and styling since the hair was just freshly bleached can put the hair at its most sensitive spot and be most vulnerable. When the hair is very, very wet, it's at the state where breakage will occur. When blow drying, I like to use the cool shot button with the money piece section only and slightly get them about 75 to 80% dry with the cool air before using regular hot and round brushing. All right, there you guys have it. 10 pro tips from me to you on how to achieve the most prettiest hairline with the healthiest condition. Let me know what you think of this tutorial down below and also give me some video ideas that you guys want to see. I want to make sure I'm constantly putting out content you guys actually want. I love you all so very much. Thanks for the ongoing support and love. Let's get this channel growing and get it up there, as well as my new vlogging channel, which is linked down below. It is called I Am Brett Ryan, and it's everything opposite of hair. I want you guys to get to know me a little bit better and follow me around with some story times and vlogging. This is just me and my crazy life, and I would love and appreciate you guys to support it. Totally go subscribe and just check it out. I have 2 very hilarious vlogs up, as well as a story time that will make you feel every single emotion. The channel link is down below. I love you guys so very much. Look at that beautiful hairline and stay tuned for a part 2 of the rest of this session. It will be out in a couple weeks. You know, I want to let you guys know I truly am so very thankful and happy and just grateful for all the love and support you guys give me. So quickly, in 3 years as of this week, I started hair school to the very day, and never have I would ever dreamt to be where I am today this early in my career and to be so successful with a booked out clientele, loyal clients, as well as you guys who support me all around the world. I am so thankful for that, and I'll never take it for granted, and I will always be here for you guys. I love you so very much. Have a great, happy new year, and I'll see you on Friday for the next one. Until then, guys, so long for now.